Business Insight. 4 downtown groups, social services agencies, and the city have unveiled a plan to reduce panhandling on city streets by connecting panhandlers with needed services and putting them to work if they so desire. They're calling the initiative Generosity 513. City Gospel Mission will operate a jobs van program from Tuesday through Friday that will allow up to 10 individuals per day to get in a 7-hour day of work that pays $9 per hour and includes a free lunch. The organization will also offer to link people to other services, including housing, mental health and addiction treatment, and permanent employment. Joining us this morning to talk about Generosity 513 is Kevin Rosebrook, Vice President of Homeless Services at City Gospel Mission, and Joe Rudemiller, Director of Communications at the Cincinnati Center City Development Corporation. They're with Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio.
Thanks, Peg. Guys, thanks so much for being here to talk about this.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with the background on it, because it seemed to just come up out of nowhere, but actually you guys have been working on this for about a year and a half.
Yeah, it was about 18 months ago we got started. We had been hearing from both residents and business owners downtown that there was kind of an uptick in actually aggressive panhandling. And so we just said, why don't we gather together some of the agencies that we've worked with in the past, social service agencies. We have a lot of great agencies here in the city, and see if we can come up with some solutions to try to address this issue.
So, Joe, you're with 3CDC. Was this a 3CDC initiative? Did you guys start this, and if so, why? We
just kind of brought the people together to the table that we thought would have some insight into this issue. Not being the experts in this area, we knew that there were a lot of folks who had a lot of great ideas and stuff to offer to the initiative. And so we brought everybody together and said, let's do some research, let's look at best practices in other cities and see what we can come up with here.
And the plan that you came up with, as Peg mentioned, involves 2 elements, the jobs van and the outreach workers. Kevin, let's start with the jobs van. How does that work?
Well, we're operating it Tuesday through Friday, and we can pick up to 10 individuals who are panhandling. We usually leave the mission around 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
And you go out looking for them? You stop where they are?
Individuals that are actively panhandling, correct. Randomly around the city. Mostly in the Central Business District and over the Rhine, and offering them a day's work, right, $9 an hour to help pick up trash and clean the streets of Cincinnati. And over 80% of them say yes, and we've done it 8 days so far. Over 85% of them are homeless. Just engaging them, and they've done a great job cleaning the streets and getting paid at the end of the day, and really getting some dignity from it as well.
Joe, you mentioned you looked at best practices. Did you look at Albuquerque for this? Because I know they have something similar.
Correct, Albuquerque and Lexington.
Successful.
Correct.
Oh, Lexington as well.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of it, the outreach workers. Now, how does that work?
So the outreach workers, one of the other things that we learned kind of during our fact-finding mission was that there was a lot of great outreach work being done, both by Greater Cincinnati Behavioral Health Services PATH team as well as DCI's outreach workers, but they had some limitations to that work. There was geographic focus area limitations, and there were some issues with the type of people that could be helped. So a lot of the funding for GCB's PATH team was tied to kind of outcomes, and they could only help primarily people with mental health issues. So what we decided to do was essentially put some more outreach workers on the street who were kind of free agents. They don't have geographic limitations. Their funding isn't solely tied to outcomes of a certain nature.
Now, so who are those workers? How are they funded, and how were they identified?
So the other partner organization in this is GCB, who is overseeing those outreach workers. And so essentially those folks are dedicated to trying to help the most visibly suffering folks on the street and try to connect them with services.
Have you been in touch with the business community in particular about these efforts and how you're moving forward with them? Any reaction from the business community in particular?
Not at this point, but I think when we first started, what we did was take a baseline survey of residents, business owners, and panhandlers. After we've been kind of rolling this out and doing it for 6 or 7 months, I think we'd like to go back and survey those individuals again and try to see if we've been effective.
For the jobs van, the response from the community has been overwhelmingly positive.
Great.
Whether it's individuals that are panhandling or individual residents in the communities where we're at. We've received lots of calls how to volunteer, how to donate,
Nice.
how to engage in the program. So the response has been great.
Yeah. And what are the jobs? Are these city jobs, or, you know, how do you determine where you're going to work that day?
We're working with 3CDC and the city to locate what are the areas that they need some extra help in cleaning up. Our team of 10 individuals per day, and just in the 8 days they've been out, have been able to cover over 40 miles around downtown and picked up over 200 bags of garbage. So working with the city and 3CDC to find out where those places are at to get people.
And I'm running out of time, but quickly, just can you talk about impact and measuring success? How will you do that?
Sure. Well, even just the picking up the garbage, I mean, that's hugely successful. Ultimately, we'd love to connect them to further services. 10 people so far have responded to further services.
Oh, that's great.
Whether it's our Jobs Plus employment program or recovery or shelter. So really connecting them to further services is the goal.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sure you'll keep us informed, and thank you guys so much for being here. Good luck with everything.
Thanks for having
Everyone
us.
wants to help, and this is a real great way to do it.